Self-worth is the foundation of every decision a woman makes, shaping the way she navigates her life, relationships, and ambitions. From an early age, many women are conditioned to believe that their value lies in how much they can give to others, whether it's daughters, wives, mothers, friends, or employees. They are taught that sacrifice is synonymous with love, that selflessness is a virtue above all else, and that their happiness should always be secondary to the needs of others. While generosity and compassion are beautiful qualities, they become burdens when they come at the expense of one's own well-being, dreams, and identity. The woman who chooses herself understands that true worth is not measured by how much she gives away, but by how much she values her own existence, choices, and happiness. For generations, women have been applauded for their ability to endure, to tolerate, and to put themselves last. Stories of self-sacrificing women are celebrated in literature, history, and culture as examples of strength and virtue. But what happens when sacrifice turns into self-erasure? What happens when a woman has given so much of herself that she no longer recognizes the person she once was? The woman who chooses herself recognizes that self-worth is not about constantly depleting oneself for the sake of others, but about understanding that she too is deserving of love, care, and fulfillment. She acknowledges that she is not obligated to set herself on fire just to keep others warm. Breaking free from this ingrained pattern of sacrifice requires courage. It demands that a woman not only recognizes her worth, but also takes intentional steps to honor it. This might mean setting boundaries that protect her time, energy, and emotional well-being. It might mean saying no to things that do not serve her, even if it disappoints those around her. It might mean walking away from situations, relationships, or environments that drain her spirit instead of nurturing it. Every time she chooses herself, she reinforces the message that she is enough, not because of what she does for others, but because of who she is. One of the most challenging aspects of embracing self-worth is overcoming the guilt that often accompanies it. Women who prioritize themselves are sometimes labeled as selfish, difficult, or even ungrateful. They may face criticism from family, friends, or society for daring to put their own needs first. However, the woman who chooses herself understands that self-care is not selfish. It is necessary. Just as a tree cannot provide shade if it is withered and weak, a woman cannot give her best to the world if she is constantly drained and depleted. By nurturing herself first, she becomes stronger, more resilient, and better able to contribute to the lives of those she loves. Recognizing one's worth also means embracing opportunities without hesitation or apology. It means pursuing dreams, passions, and goals without waiting for permission. Too often, women second-guess themselves, wondering if they are good enough or qualified enough to go after what they truly desire. But the woman who chooses herself silences that inner doubt and steps boldly into her potential. She understands that her ambitions are valid, her dreams are important, and her happiness matters just as much as anyone else's. She does not shrink to make others comfortable, nor does she dim her light to avoid outshining those around her. Instead, she stands fully in her power, knowing that her success does not take away from others. It simply proves what is possible. When a woman values herself, she sets a new standard for how she expects to be treated. She refuses to tolerate disrespect, mistreatment, or anything less than she deserves. She understands that love, whether from a partner, a friend, or society, should never require her to diminish herself. She does not seek validation from external sources, because she has already validated herself. She does not settle for less because she knows her worth. The moment she recognizes that she is enough exactly as she is, she becomes unstoppable. The more she honors her own value, the more she inspires others to do the same. The courage to walk away is one of the most powerful and transformative decisions a woman can make in her life. It requires deep self-awareness and a profound understanding of her own worth. Too often, women find themselves in situations, whether in relationships, jobs, or social circles, that no longer serve them, but they hesitate to leave because of fear, guilt, or the belief that they are somehow obligated to stay. The woman who chooses herself has the strength to recognize when something is no longer healthy, fulfilling, or aligned with her values. She knows that walking away is not a sign of failure, but an act of self-respect and a commitment to her own well-being. Leaving something that no longer serves you can feel like an act of rebellion against the expectations placed on you by society, family, or even your own internalized beliefs. Women are often conditioned to be loyal, to endure hardship, and to make sacrifices for the sake of others. This mindset can make it incredibly difficult to walk away from a toxic relationship, a draining job, or a situation that continuously drains emotional energy. The woman who chooses herself does not wait for permission to prioritize her happiness and peace. She understands that sometimes the bravest thing she can do is to let go of what is hurting her, even if it means facing uncertainty, criticism, or disappointment. Walking away takes courage because it often involves facing the fear of the unknown. When a woman has invested time, energy, and emotion into something or someone, it can be hard to imagine what life will look like without it. The fear of being alone, of losing stability, or of facing judgment from others can make it seem easier to stay in a situation that no longer serves her. But the woman who chooses herself understands that staying out of fear only keeps her stuck. It prevents her from evolving, from growing, and from stepping into the life she truly deserves. It is only when she gathers the courage to walk away that she opens the door to new possibilities, to new experiences, and to the chance of a more authentic and fulfilling life. Sometimes walking away means ending a relationship that no longer nurtures or supports her. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even a familial connection, the woman who chooses herself knows that love should never come at the cost of her peace or self-esteem. She recognizes that staying in unhealthy relationships, those filled with toxicity, manipulation, or neglect, can damage her spirit and hinder her personal growth. Walking away does not mean that she does not love or care for the person. It simply means that she loves herself enough to no longer accept less than what she deserves. She values her own mental and emotional health above the fear of conflict, rejection, or loneliness. In the professional realm, the courage to walk away can be just as powerful. Women often face societal pressures to stay in certain roles or positions, especially when they have worked hard to achieve them. However, when a job, a workplace environment, or a career path no longer aligns with her values or passions, the woman who chooses herself does not hesitate to step away. It can be scary to leave behind a secure job or to shift away from a career that once brought fulfillment but now feels draining or limiting. Yet by walking away, she opens herself up to new opportunities, to creative pursuits, and to the chance to find work that truly brings her joy. She understands that success is not defined by the title she holds, but by the contentment she feels in her daily life and the impact she is able to make in her own unique way. The act of walking away also teaches others around her an invaluable lesson. It shows them that it is okay to prioritize your own well-being, that it is okay to step away from situations that are not serving you, and that it is okay to choose yourself over the expectations or demands of others. The courage to walk away is not only an act of self-liberation, but it also has the power to inspire others to break free from their own limiting circumstances. By choosing herself, a woman becomes a beacon of strength, resilience, and authenticity, paving the way for others to do the same. And in the process, she reclaims her power and takes control of her own story. The courage to walk away is often seen as one of the hardest yet most liberating choices a woman can make. It requires a deep trust in herself and a commitment to her own happiness and well-being. For many women, the pressure to stay in situations that are no longer healthy or fulfilling can be overwhelming. Society often tells women to persevere, to endure, and to sacrifice, especially when it comes to relationships or commitments. There's a common belief that love, loyalty, or success must be earned through hard work and persistence, even if it means suffering in silence. But the woman who chooses herself knows that sometimes the most courageous thing she can do is to walk away. Leaving behind what no longer serves her is not an easy decision. It means confronting the fear of the unknown, the discomfort of change, and the possibility of facing judgment from others. For many women, there is a fear of being seen as weak, selfish, or ungrateful for walking away from a relationship, job, or situation that others might not see as problematic. The pressure to conform, to stay in situations for the sake of others' expectations, can be immense. However, the woman who chooses herself understands that she cannot live her life according to the standards or opinions of others. She must honor her own truth and her own sense of worth, even if it means disappointing people or stepping into unfamiliar territory. The courage to walk away is often tied to the realization that staying in a situation that is emotionally or physically draining only leads to more harm in the long run. Whether it's a toxic relationship, an unfulfilling career, or an environment that stifles her growth, the woman who chooses herself knows that staying in such circumstances will eventually diminish her energy, self-esteem, and sense of purpose. By choosing to walk away, she reclaims her power and her autonomy. She no longer allows her circumstances or the actions of others to dictate her happiness. She steps out of the role of victimhood and into the role of creator, actively shaping her own destiny. The decision to walk away may also stem from a desire to grow, to evolve, and to become the best version of herself. When a woman remains in situations that do not align with her values or aspirations, she risks stagnation. The courage to leave those situations is an act of self-love, a belief that she deserves more, and a commitment to her own personal evolution. She recognizes that growth often requires discomfort, and that sometimes she must leave behind what is familiar in order to make space for something better. Walking away is not an act of failure, but rather an act of embracing the possibility of transformation, of stepping into the unknown with the confidence that she will find a path that aligns with her true self. In relationships, the courage to walk away is particularly profound. Whether it's a romantic relationship, a friendship, or even a family connection, women are often taught to endure, to forgive, and to put up with behavior that is less than respectful or loving. The fear of being alone, of disappointing loved ones, or of being judged for ending a relationship can make it incredibly difficult to walk away, even when it's clear that the relationship is no longer healthy. The woman who chooses herself understands that love should not come at the cost of her dignity or peace of mind. She knows that walking away from a relationship that is emotionally or physically harmful is a necessary act of self-respect. She does not wait for the relationship to fix itself or for things to get better. Instead, she recognizes when it's time to let go, trusting that walking away opens up space for healthier, more supportive connections. The courage to walk away is not just about escaping negativity. It's about creating room for growth, healing, and new opportunities. In every situation, walking away represents the possibility of a fresh start. It means that the woman is no longer willing to settle for less than she deserves. She refuses to remain in spaces that do not honor her worth, her dreams, and her potential. By making this choice, she teaches others the importance of setting boundaries, of valuing oneself, and of trusting that the right opportunities will come when you make space for them. The courage to walk away is ultimately a declaration of self-respect, an affirmation that her happiness, health, and peace are worth fighting for. And in doing so, she reclaims her power and her agency over her own life. Overcoming fear and doubt is one of the most powerful steps a woman can take in her journey to choosing herself. Fear, especially the fear of failure, judgment, or the unknown, often holds women back from fully stepping into their potential. Society has long conditioned women to question their abilities, to second-guess their decisions, and to doubt whether they are capable of achieving their dream. This fear is often rooted in past experiences, societal expectations, or the voices of others telling her what she should or shouldn't do. The woman who chooses herself recognizes these fears, acknowledges them, and then makes a conscious choice to move forward anyway, knowing that her worth is not defined by her fears or doubts. For many women, fear comes in many forms. Fear of rejection, fear of not being enough, fear of taking risks that might lead to failure. It's the voice in her head that tells her she's not ready, that she's not good enough, or that she doesn't have what it takes to succeed. This voice can be deafening, and it can prevent women from pursuing their passions or going after what they truly want in life. But the woman who chooses herself refuses to let this voice define her. She understands that fear is a natural part of the human experience, but it does not have to control her actions. Instead of allowing fear to paralyze her, she uses it as a signal that she is stepping out of her comfort zone, pushing herself toward growth, and embracing new opportunities. Overcoming fear requires vulnerability and courage. The woman who chooses herself knows that in order to move past fear, she must first be willing to face it head on. It means acknowledging the discomfort, the uncertainty, and the possibility of failure, but not allowing these things to stop her from moving forward. The journey may not always be easy, and there may be moments of self-doubt, but she understands that growth comes from pushing through those moments and proving to herself that she is capable of handling whatever challenges come her way. Fear, when approached with the right mindset, becomes an ally, a reminder that she is on the brink of something new and exciting. Doubt, too, plays a significant role in the woman's journey to choosing herself. It's the belief that she isn't worthy of success, happiness, or love, that she doesn't have the skills or talents to achieve her dreams, or that others are more deserving. This doubt can be crippling, especially when it comes from within, and it often stems from the conditioning women experience throughout their lives. The woman who chooses herself recognizes that doubt is simply a thought, not a truth. She knows that her worth is not determined by the opinions of others, nor is it determined by her past mistakes or failures. She refuses to allow doubt to hold her hostage, and instead she chooses to believe in her own potential. She reminds herself that she is worthy of everything she desires, and that she is more than capable of achieving her goals. Overcoming fear and doubt is also about creating a mindset of resilience. The woman who chooses herself understands that setbacks, challenges, and failures are not permanent markers of who she is. Instead, they are opportunities for growth, learning, and improvement. She reframes her thinking, shifting from a mindset of limitation to one of possibility. When fear or doubt creeps in, she doesn't let it dictate her actions or her self-worth. Instead, she takes small, deliberate steps toward her goals, knowing that each step forward, no matter how small, is a victory. She embraces mistakes as part of the process, understanding that failure is not the end, but simply a stepping stone on the path to success. It's important to note that overcoming fear and doubt is not something that happens overnight. It's a continual process, one that requires patience, practice, and self-compassion. There will be moments when fear resurfaces and doubts may creep back in, but the woman who chooses herself learns how to manage these emotions rather than be controlled by them. She builds a toolkit of strategies, whether through affirmations, surrounding herself with supportive people, or practicing mindfulness, that help her stay grounded and focused on her goals. Over time, as she continues to confront and overcome her fears, she becomes more confident, more resilient, and more in tune with her inner strength. By overcoming fear and doubt, the woman who chooses herself creates a life that is true to her desires and dreams. She no longer allows these emotions to hold her back, but instead uses them as fuel to propel her forward, embracing the challenges and uncertainties that come with pursuing a life she deserves. She is a living testament to the power of self-belief, showing the world that with courage and persistence, anything is possible. Inspiring others is one of the most profound impacts a woman can have when she chooses herself. By standing in her truth, embracing her worth, and taking bold steps toward her own fulfillment, she not only transforms her own life, but also becomes a beacon of light for those around her. Her courage to choose herself, despite the societal pressures and challenges she may face, serves as a powerful example to others, showing them that it is possible to live authentically and unapologetically. She inspires others to believe in their own power, to prioritize their well-being, and to take the risks necessary to create lives that align with their deepest desires. The woman who chooses herself understands that her actions speak louder than her words. When she decides to honor her own needs, to set boundaries, and to pursue her passions without compromise, she sends a clear message to the world. It is not only okay to put yourself first, it is essential. This message is particularly powerful in a society that often tells women to sacrifice, to serve others, and to place their happiness last. By choosing herself, she challenges this narrative and shows that self-love and self-care are not acts of selfishness, but acts of strength. Her example encourages others, especially women, to do the same, to shed the guilt of prioritizing their own well-being and to embrace the idea that they are worthy of living life on their own terms. As she walks her own path, the woman who chooses herself radiates confidence, resilience, and authenticity. These qualities are magnetic, drawing others to her and inspiring them to reflect on their own lives. People begin to notice the changes she's made, the way she speaks up for herself, the way she takes risks, the way she embraces challenges with grace and determination. Her story becomes one of empowerment, showing others that it is never too late to make a change, to walk away from what no longer serves you, and to step into the life you truly deserve. She becomes a living example of the power of self-belief, reminding everyone around her that they too are capable of creating their own path and achieving their own dreams. When a woman chooses herself, she also lifts up those who may be struggling to do the same. She understands that her journey is not only about her personal growth, but also about creating space for others to grow with her. She offers support, encouragement, and a listening ear to those who may feel uncertain or afraid to make changes in their own lives. By sharing her story, her struggles, and her victories, she shows others that they are not alone. in their journey. Her authenticity and vulnerability make it easier for others to open up and begin the process of choosing themselves too. She creates a ripple effect, a movement of women supporting and inspiring each other to rise above their fears, doubts, and insecurities. In addition to empowering others to choose themselves, the woman who chooses herself also teaches the importance of self-compassion and patience. She recognizes that growth is a process and that setbacks and challenges are a natural part of the journey. She doesn't expect perfection from herself, and she doesn't expect it from others. Instead, she embraces the imperfections, knowing that they are part of what makes her story powerful and relatable. Her message is clear. You don't have to have everything figured out to choose yourself. You don't have to be perfect, and you don't have to meet society's standards of success. You just have to be true to who you are and trust that the process of growth will unfold in its own time. The woman who chooses herself also inspires those around her by showing that vulnerability is not a weakness, but a strength. She is unafraid to show the world her true self, flaws and all. In doing so, she breaks down the walls of perfectionism and invites others to do the same. She shows that it is okay to be imperfect, to make mistakes, and to grow at your own pace. Her openness and authenticity encourage others to be more honest with themselves and the world around them. She creates a culture of acceptance, where people feel safe to be who they truly are, without fear of judgment or rejection, by inspiring others to choose themselves. The woman who embraces her own worth also helps to create a collective shift in mindset. As more and more women choose to prioritize their own happiness, well-being, and dreams, the world becomes a place where authenticity, self-love, and personal empowerment are celebrated. This movement is not just about individual success, but about uplifting one another, fostering communities of support, and creating a ripple effect that changes lives. The woman who chooses herself understands that when she rises, she brings others with her, and together they create a world where everyone can live authentically and unapologetically. Making the choice today is a powerful reminder that change does not have to be postponed for another moment, another year, or another circumstance. So often we wait for the perfect time, the right moment, or the ideal conditions before we commit to choosing ourselves. We tell ourselves that once we've achieved certain goals, once our responsibilities are less demanding, or once we feel ready, we'll begin to prioritize our own needs and desires. But the woman who chooses herself knows that the perfect time is now. That the power to change, to grow, and to choose a different path is available in this very moment. The choice is hers to make today, not tomorrow. Choosing today means breaking free from the cycle of postponing our happiness and well-being. It means recognizing that life is not something that can be put off until the right circumstances come along. The right time to choose yourself is not some distant future, but right now. By waiting for external conditions to change before making a choice, we often find ourselves in a perpetual state of anticipation, always believing that we will have more time, more resources, or more support later. But the truth is that life is unpredictable, and if we wait for the perfect moment, we may never take the first step. The woman who chooses herself understands that waiting for perfection is an illusion, and that the only moment she truly has is the present one. Making the choice today is also an act of reclaiming power. It is about taking control of your life and deciding that you are worthy of living the life you desire, regardless of what others may think or expect from you. It is about no longer allowing external circumstances, past experiences, or fear to dictate your future. The moment you make the choice today to prioritize your happiness, your dreams, and your well-being, you are affirming that you are in charge of your own destiny. You no longer wait for permission, validation, or approval from others. Instead, you give yourself permission to live authentically, to pursue your goals and to make decisions that align with your true desires. The power of making the choice today also lies in its immediacy. The longer we wait to take action, the more our dreams, goals, and personal growth can feel distant or unattainable. But when you make the choice today, you are actively stepping toward your goals and actively creating the life you want to live. You are no longer passive in the process of becoming the woman you aspire to be. Instead, you are engaged in the present moment, taking deliberate steps that lead you closer to your desired future. The more you choose today, the closer you come to turning your dreams into reality, to living a life that is in alignment with your truest self. In making the choice today, we also stop letting fear control our actions. Fear has a way of convincing us that we are not ready, not capable, or not worthy of what we truly desire. It whispers that we should wait until we have more confidence or more experience, but in doing so, it keeps us stuck in the same place, waiting for conditions that may never come. The woman who chooses herself understands that fear is a natural part of growth, but it does not have to be an obstacle that stands in her way. She acknowledges her fear, but does not let it dictate her actions. Instead of waiting for the fear to disappear, she moves forward with courage, making the choice today to embrace uncertainty and take bold steps toward her dreams. Choosing today also requires us to let go of perfectionism. Many women are paralyzed by the idea that they must have everything figured out before making a move, that they must be flawless in their decisions and actions. But the woman who chooses herself understands that perfection is an illusion and that growth often comes from taking imperfect action. She knows that she doesn't have to have all the answers and she doesn't need everything to be in place to begin her journey. She simply needs the willingness to start and the faith that the rest will unfold as she takes each step. The choice today is not about being perfect. It's about being brave enough to move forward with what you have, knowing that each small step will lead you closer to the life you want to create. In making the choice today, you choose yourself and everything that comes with it: freedom, growth, fulfillment, and the courage to step into your full potential. You choose to no longer wait for external circumstances to align or for the approval of others. You choose to live authentically, to pursue your dreams and to honor your needs regardless of the challenges you may face. The woman who chooses herself understands that today is the only moment that matters, and she makes that choice with confidence, knowing that by choosing herself, she is creating the life she has always desired. The time to act is now, and the woman who chooses herself knows that today is the day to begin.